In this tutorial, we will be painting a beautiful snowy mountainscape, focusing on both the highlight and shadow sides to create an engaging composition. Let's get started. I've taped down the edges of my A4 size paper, which is in portrait orientation. Remember, I want you to tape down the paper on any clipboard or any hard surface, just so we can move it around while painting. I do not want you to tape it down on the table. That will restrict our movement. Now we'll begin with a light sketch to map out the rough outline of the mountains. This will serve as a guide for the rest of the painting process. Now, to paint realistic light and shadow, it is important to first decide where your light source is coming from. In this tutorial, we will imagine the light source coming from the left side of the paper. That means the left side of the mountain will be the highlighted bright area and the right side will be in shadow. So keep this in mind as you sketch and paint. So the center line down the mountain shape will help you clearly separate the light side from the shadow side. We will leave the light side mostly white and keep it very light, and we will build up the shadows gradually on the other side using slightly darker colors. Understanding this light and shadow logic will really help you bring more depth and form to your landscape. Next, let us prepare the paint for the shadow areas. Here I am using a mix of ultramarine blue and a touch of cobalt blue, diluted with plenty of water to get light, fluid consistency. This mix will be used for the shadow side of the mountain, which is on the right side of the paper. Here I am using a mop brush. It holds a lot of water and helps in creating soft, flowing washes. Now, carefully apply the paint on the right side of the mountain, keeping the left side untouched. You can tilt the paper to allow the paints to flow naturally. Now, moving on to the left side, I am applying some diagonal lines depicting the natural texture and creases on the highlighted side of the mountain. The center line dividing the light and shadow sides of the mountain currently is looking very sharp. So to soften this transition, I am gently running a clean damp brush along that edge. This will blur the boundary slightly, making it feel more subtle and realistic. Next, I am mixing burnt umber and burnt sienna to create a warm brown tone. This mix will help us suggest the rocky and muddy texture that appears beneath the snow. So use this color and randomly apply it within the shadow side of the mountain. Keep your brushstrokes loose and irregular to mimic the organic texture of rocks. So far, we have added the rocky texture to the shadow side, right? But there are also some muddy areas on the left, that is the brighter side of the mountain. So to keep it consistent with the lighting, I am using a more diluted version of the brown mix. This lighter tone helps in blending it naturally into the sunlit side without overpowering the highlights. I'm applying it loose and random shapes just like before to maintain a realistic and uneven texture as you would expect in any natural mountain landscape. Next, let us mix a darker brown color. You could add black or Payne's grey. This adds a sense of variation in the rocky texture of the mountain. I'll add some more texture on the white part. Now let us add the darker brown variation in the rocky surface. Next, I am mixing even darker brown color, almost black. I'll use this color mix to add depth in selected shadow areas. It will depict the rocky texture and enhances the contrast and depth in the mountain. Make sure you are creating smaller brush marks with this paint. Do not go in a bigger size. These tiny brush marks create a very realistic appearance in the mountain. Now, to further enhance the shadows in the highlighted side, I am using diluted ultramarine blue on some parts of the white area. This diluted color depicts the tiny shadow areas inside the highlighted part. Next, with slightly darker tonal value of ultramarine blue, I'm adding some impressions and brush marks on the shadow side as well. This will add a sense of character to the shadow area. Next, I'll create some brush marks with the almost black color. Make sure to paint very tiny brush marks. Using the same techniques, you can create any kind of mountains. Do give it a try. If you would like to dive deeper into learning mountains and techniques, uh, techniques like brush marks, layering, building textures, I have a detailed class on Skillshare where I cover everything step by step. The class includes 7 mountain theme projects to help you practice and improve. Feel free to check it out if you are interested. I'll leave the link in the description. Alright, now let us dry this area completely, because when we are painting the sky, I don't want the paints to interfere with the sky colors. I'm using my hairdryer to dry this out completely. Okay, so the paints are completely dry. Now I'll rotate the paper and I'm going to paint the sky. So I want the paper in a tilted angle. I'll place the masking tape under the paper to create a slight tilt. Now we are going to paint the sky. So you can take any color of your choice. I am taking cobalt blue and a little bit of ultramarine blue, a blue mixture basically. Now take this mixture in a diluted or mid-tone consistency. Apply it around the boundaries of the mountain. I'm gently applying the colors so that it doesn't bleed inside the mountain area. Once you have painted the outline, then you can apply the color in any way you want. The slight tilt that we have created here in the paper will allow the paints to flow down naturally due to gravity. That will create a very seamless effect in the sky. Of course, you can add more darker paints if you want a gradation or a cloudy effect. That's your call, but here I'm painting a simple sky. Lifting the paper and letting the paints flow down. So in the bottom, you can see some paints. Take a clean damp brush and gently glide your brush, lifting all the paints. Alright, now you can bring it back to its original position and see how it has turned out. Okay, mine has some highlights on the shadow areas which I don't want. So I'm filling it up with blue color. Alright, we are done. Let us peel off the masking tape and reveal the final look of the painting. Peel off the tape at an angle of 45 to 60 degrees. And there you have it. Our snowy mountain painting is complete. The contrast between the shadow side and the highlighted side really brings it to life. And I hope you enjoyed painting this with me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Alright, I'll see you soon. Until then, take care and happy painting.